Welcome to Never Sleep Again,
your source for sci-fi and horror movie reviews. I'm Jonathan.
and I'm Veronica. And today we have something special for you. It's an oldie but a goodie. Today we're going to be reviewing the movie Event Horizon. And so it's starring a few notable names, including Laurence Fishburne. And, we have some others in there. And if you haven't seen it, we encourage you to go out, watch it. Where did we see this? I think, was it Paramount Plus, right?
Paramount Plus, yeah.
So if you have a Paramount Plus subscription, well, then you have easy access to it. Otherwise,
seems like it's available on a few different platforms, but we watched it on Paramount Plus.
Yep, and so there are going to be spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie and you don't want us to ruin anything for you, then go check it out, come back, watch the review. If you don't care, or if you've already seen it, stick around, hang out with us as we discuss some of the things that we did and did not like, what worked for us and what didn't work for us.
Yeah, I mean, you clicked on the video, so you might as well just hang out with us. Still go watch that movie after you finish watching our review.
Please do us a favor and give us a like, a follow, and share the video if you feel like somebody else could benefit from it. So let's just go ahead and just kind of give you a brief synopsis. So with this movie, we're dealing with the not too distant future.
Yeah, right. Yeah, this movie does not take place that long from where we are now. It's I'm just gonna say right off the bat, it takes place in 2047.
Yes.
I understand that in the year 1997, that seemed far off.
Yeah, but still not far off.
Not that far off.
They really thought we were going to be pretty advanced by this point. I think by 2015, they thought we would have like a colony on the moon. And
the first colony on the moon. It seemed like there was commercial trips.
Yeah,
to the
already
moon,
happening.
So.
Well,
I gotta give them. You know what? I gotta give them credit for their optimism. They really thought that by now we would be doing much more than what we're doing now. If only we had a time machine to go back and let them know in 1997 that we're pretty much we're not in the same position we are as far as exploration, but we're just not that advanced.
No, not that advanced. Well, basically with this movie, we're following a ship and the crew of a particular ship called the Lewis and Clark. And they're sent on a search and rescue mission to find another ship called the Event Horizon that went missing 7 years ago. And so they allow a scientist to board the ship, and the scientist is going to help them. Dr. Weir is supposed to help them try to locate the ship. And so once they find the ship, things start to go awry. As they do. And all kinds of mayhem happens. And so we encourage you once again, watch the movie so you know exactly what we're talking about.
And I have to say, there's the characters are pretty interesting. We have some interesting characters in there. We have some familiar faces depending on what movies you like to watch.
Yeah.
We have Jason Isaacs in there. He's playing the character DJ. He's the medical doctor. You may remember him from Harry Potter.
Lucius Malfoy.
And Dr. Weir, he's Sam Neill, who we know him as Dr. Grant from Jurassic Park. Of course, everybody knows Morpheus.
Of
Lawrence
course. Lawrence Fishburne.
So it's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool.
It's cool. And if you haven't guessed by now, this is a sci-fi movie.
Right.
We are dealing with science fiction.
Although there's different horror elements that are in there.
Yep, there are. So we're just going to go ahead and talk about what worked for us and what didn't work for us with this movie again.
You know how it goes.
It's an older movie, so we do want to kind of give it a little bit of leeway. We want to give it a little bit of we want to be lenient, I should say, because we know that, they don't have the same kind of effects and technology that we have today. So basically,
we are, whatever rating we give it, we're giving it in the context of what if this was 1997
Right.
when we watched this?
Exactly. So let's go ahead and start with you. What worked for you with Event Horizon?
No, we're gonna start with you. No, I'm just you know. So what worked for me is right off the bat, it just reminded me a little bit of Alien.
Okay.
So imagine if Alien wasn't as advanced, because their technology in Alien was definitely a little bit more advanced than in this movie. Remember, this movie is only supposed to be taking place in 2047. And I think I believe, if I'm wrong, don't be hope you're not too critical of this video if I'm too wrong, if I'm wrong with this, but Alien, it seemed like they were further along in the future, and they were traveling much farther than they were able to travel in Event Horizon. I don't think they were outside of our solar system in Event Horizon.
Well, kind of.
Yeah. Well, not too far.
Not too. However, with the help of that, the thing that created the black hole,
right?
Then they could travel outside. But that was a new development. Again, if you've seen the movie, then you know
that developed within the movie.
Yes, exactly.
Because like the setting of the movie, it seemed like they were trying to go realistic with it, where there's not just a wormhole every time you turn around. You're not able to just go into lightning, you're not able to just go into warp speed
exactly
at the drop of a hat. So there's none of, if you're looking for that, there's none of that in this.
Right.
So I like the feel of it. It reminds me of Alien. You got the crew there. The crew's pretty tight. There are some cliches where you have the serious guy, and then you have the knuckleheads and things like that. But that's cool. The space suits, I liked the space suits. We were talking about the technology in there. I liked how the space suits weren't just a cool prop where you just see them in the suit and it's like, oh, okay, of course the suit is high tech. There are how many ever years in the future, and they don't explain to you what the suits are doing. They explain to you what the suits are doing as they're doing it. So there's a scene where they're, of course they're in space, so there's, the zero gravity, and they have a function on the boots, on the suit, where you hit a button and, it allows the boots to, have gravity, and they're able to go touch down to the floor safely and walk normally.
Yeah.
And I thought it was cool that they just told you what it was doing. They really put you in the movie, so it's not just a prop that you're looking at, and they didn't leave it up to your imagination. They just tell you what you're doing. I appreciate that. Next thing, I thought it was, more about the crew. I thought it was funny that Lieutenant Peters and Justin, they called each other Mama Bear and Baby Bear. I thought that was pretty funny.
They had a nice little relationship.
More on that later. I have more to say on that later. I felt like the movie was the perfect blend of sci-fi, horror, and action. Yeah. And you definitely will not be bored watching this movie. So I think that's all. I agree. And the cast, of course. I liked the cast. The cast was pretty good. Everybody in the cast was great. Everybody was entertaining. I didn't find not one crew member to be annoying at all.
No, not well.
So to speak.
Yes. But
what about you?
As far as I'm concerned, there are a few things that worked for me. I felt like you mentioned about the fact that there were horror elements, and yes, I meant to make mention of that, because what I really liked is that it played out like a horror. There is this threat, this like invisible threat. There's danger, but you don't know what it is and what's causing all the havoc and
if it's
chaos
just all
is happening.
In their minds.
Yeah, or if it's all in their minds. So it's like psychological, but also physical, because things are happening to them physically. So you know, it was pretty eerie, pretty creepy
Pretty
there.
creepy, yeah.
I can imagine that if I was somebody on that crew, you know, I'd be entirely freaked out, not knowing what I'm
Probably
dealing
in
with.
your room with the door locked.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't. Be
which
leaving
might
that
be
shit.
which might be a bad idea considering all the hallucinations.
That's the
I
thing,
would
yeah.
probably put myself in. They had a cryo sleep in there.
They
right?
did, yeah.
I probably would have put myself in the cryo sleep.
Right, and just hope for the best.
They would have been mad at me. I
Well,
wouldn't have been doing my job at all.
I gotta say, it wouldn't have worked out for you in the end, because in the end, the ship explodes. So, you know, at least you'd kind of go out
Right,
without knowing what
peacefully.
happens. Yeah. But yes, I thought that was pretty cool. And, you know, it was a sci-fi movie back then, but yeah, I really like that aspect of it.
Okay.
A couple of other things. Captain Miller, Laurence Fishburne's character, was actually a pretty good captain. Like, I liked him as a captain. You could tell he cared about his crew. He valued them. And there was one scene in particular, I have a feeling you might end up talking about this, so I don't really want to get into it. But there's one scene in particular where someone is, you know, it's a life or death situation. And he's kind of talking them through it and trying to help them remain calm. And he actually, you know, the situation works out. But man, during that, it's such a tense scene, and you're
Right.
feeling like all this tension. You're feeling scared for the character, and he's just, you know, just giving orders. And you know, you could tell that he really cared about his
They
team.
did a good job at showing him as being a great leader,
Yeah.
great captain. He cares about his team.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty dope.
That was dope. Yes. And
Although we have no doubt that Morpheus could save the
please.
day. So it's-
You got Morpheus on your team. Like, things are going to work out for
you
the
can't
most
lose
part.
For the most part.
Yeah. And then there's another thing. Well, it's kind of cheesy, but at the same time, I kind of liked it. There's a scene towards the end of the movie where Dr. Weir, his physical appearance changes. His physical appearance changes, and all I could think about was Hellraiser. And I'm just like, dude, it would be so cool if they did,
an
Event
crossover.
Horizon, Hellraiser crossover. The portal that they go through, this wormhole, maybe it just takes them to like the Hellraiser dimension. And that's why we see all these awful things are happening.
Right.
That's why Dr. Weir basically, you know, came back to life after he died. And
right.
his appearance is so, you know, different from what it was. It just, I think it would be a really cool idea.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I feel like Event Horizon already was a crossover.
I know, right? Basically.
There's a hallucination that somebody has or a vision that they have, and you can clearly see the whole crew bound by chains.
That's the thing.
And they're clearly being tortured, and their eyes, looks like their eyes have been pulled right from the sockets.
Even what happened in reality, like what they actually saw, which was not a vision, one of the crewmates was just splayed open and left hanging by the skin and everything. It's
just like Hellraiser.
Yeah, looked just like something out of Hellraiser. I wonder if they were inspired.
That would
be interesting.
It's highly
to know.
likely.
Yeah, but anyway, I thought that was pretty cool. I actually liked it. So that's kind of all I had to go over as far as the particulars.
So that's what we liked.
That's what we liked.
So,
now, what did not work for you?
Okay, so, and I don't want to sound that critical of this movie. Spoiler alert, I like this movie. This is I tried not to be biased with this, so that's why I didn't really go easy on this movie with what I did not like about the movie.
Okay.
So there were a few things that I did not like.
Okay.
So some of the special effects definitely show how old this movie is. It feels, when you watch this, there's times where it's like, okay, it ages really great. You see the practical special effects in there, like the appearance of Dr. Weir or things that the suits can do, technology on board. The set looked really cool. But sometimes the special effects, you're watching 1997 movie. It it um it really does. Some of the special effects really do remind you of things like Mortal Kombat or
Oh,
Mortal Kombat Annihilation or
yeah.
different made for. You ever watched a TV show that was a made for TV version of a movie? It sometimes when I'm watching Event Horizon, it just seems like it doesn't. The graphics haven't aged well at all, so it makes me think like, oh, well, what I saw originally was Event Horizon the movie, and now I'm watching the '90s television series
Okay.
that's based on Event Horizon, and
You know
so
what? I could totally see that.
yeah.
Oh man, I wish you didn't put that idea in my head because
Now it's gonna be stuck there.
yeah.
So, so there's that. Then let's go. Remember, I talked about Lieutenant Peters and Justin earlier. Lieutenant Peters, she's Mama Bear, and Justin is Baby Bear. And while I thought that was funny, and while you're right, it was cute, they didn't really provide that much context to the nature of their relationship. We don't know if she's only a maternal figure to him, or if they have a romantic relationship,
Okay.
and it's funny because she's older and he's younger, or
Mhm.
if they're just being playful. A couple of other people did call Justin
Baby,
Baby
yeah,
Bear,
they did.
kind of in jest.
So you would have
Uh,
liked to see that developed a little more.
right, I would have wanted to see what it was
Yeah.
between them. How did they come up with the name or whatnot? We never really. I will note that we never really see them with like alone
Mhm.
time or
No.
something, and we know that Peters has an ex-husband on Earth and a child,
Right.
and but that's it. So I
Yeah.
kind of wish there was a little bit more context to that.
Okay. I kind of like to
Um,
think that they were just,
just
just
playing, just
playing, just
playful.
platonic friends. And yeah, like she
Yeah.
kind of, was like a mother-like figure to him.
Right, right. Well, there's more.
Oh.
uh,
Uh-oh.
So this part, like I said, I'm not trying to criticize it too much, but I didn't. Whenever there's a movie of mine that is one of my favorite movies, especially from the past, I
Mhm.
try not to go too easy on it. So, so no kid gloves. Cooper is the rescue technician,
Mhm.
um, but Miller, he's the one shown performing two major rescues within the movie. We see he rescues Justin in the movie, and we also see that he rescues Stark, she's the communications expert on board.
Mhm.
I wish that they could have shown. So everybody on the board, everybody on the ship has a job that's their specialty. I wish that they took the time to develop the world that they're trying to bring us into and show people perform their specialties. So if you set it up for me that one guy is the rescue technician, but you don't really show him perform that many rescues,
Yeah.
it's a little bit weird to me. I know that Laurence Fishburne is the star, but they should have shown Cooper rescue somebody,
Okay.
or at least give him one of the major rescues to be like, oh, okay, well that's his job. That's why
Mhm.
he's on board. They did show Lucius Malfoy.
Yeah.
They did show him taking care of Justin
Mhm.
in the medical bay, and he's a doctor, and so that makes sense. So that was cool.
Yeah.
They could have. So we talked about Dr. Weir earlier. Dr. Grant from Jurassic Park. They
Mhm.
kept casting him as a doctor in those days, I guess.
Yes.
So, so we talked about the fact that there is an entity on board,
Mhm.
and the entity's messing with everybody's head. And they presented Dr. Weir to us. He designed the Event Horizon, And
yeah, or the machine that was
right,
opens the portal.
Right.
Yeah.
He designed it, and so we're presented to him. He seems like a man who's very stable. He's a serious man. When the entity starts messing with him, starts showing him his wife, I think his child as well. I can't remember if it showed him a child, like, so I'm probably wrong about that. But it showed him images of a woman that was very important to him, and he almost immediately just succumbs to this entity.
Yeah.
He shows almost zero resistance, where other people on board, they showed a certain level of they seem to have a little bit more constitution.
They really did. And this guy from the very
beginning.
Yeah, once they docked and
right,
they were connected to the event horizon, he just gave in.
He had no resistance to it. Like, he wouldn't snap out of it. So there's one part where Justin Baby Bear, the entity hypnotizes him into locking himself in the airlock and ejecting himself from the ship. He had the worst time in this movie.
Yeah.
And so everybody else is scrambling. There was other people that had to snap out of it, and they're scrambling to go help Justin. And Dr. Weir, he's just sitting there. He's a doctor. And, when you think there's about to be a medical emergency, if you're any type of medical personnel, you're going to think, oh, I need to be there. Something might be about to go down. Something happened. They might need a doctor down there. He's just sitting there with that entity in his brain.
Yeah,
you could just see him just fully giving in to it. So I would have liked to see him have some sort of resistance, because it gets to the point where at one point of the movie, he's just gone.
Yeah.
And he's, even before his physical appearance changes, he's already talking like Pinhead.
Yeah, I know, right?
He's already talking like Pinhead, and his mannerisms are like Pinhead. And that's why I said, this already is the crossover.
Yeah.
With Hellraiser.
It basically is. It's basically this is Hellraiser Goes to Space. It's like
right.
That's what we're
right
watching.
Before this is Hellraiser Goes to Space, but I think before Hellraiser Goes to Space, I think.
Yeah.
We'll check on that. So what didn't work for you?
Okay, so you actually touched on a lot of things, and I have to agree with like pretty much everything that you discussed. Something that I kind of hinted at earlier, I kind of mentioned, was the fact that by 2015, like, they really thought we would be so advanced.
Yeah.
And this is really a problem for a lot of these movies.
A lot of these old movies.
Yeah. From the 90s and, prior to the 90s, they really thought we would be so advanced. And I'm just like, guys, 2015, 1997 is not a huge leap.
No.
We're not colonizing the moon. Not right now. Probably not in the next 20 years. Like, let's be a little more realistic about that. So, I really didn't care for that. I really didn't. I mean,
yeah.
I can understand. Okay, I can understand people in like the 50s thinking we would have hover cars and we would all be driving hover cars right now, because that's a huge leap, 50s to, 2023. But I'm sorry, 97 to 2015, not enough time. It's not even 20 years.
I could forgive it just a little bit. Because they were being optimistic. You know what I mean?
I get it.
They're being a little bit optimistic, and I think it took a lot of us a while to understand that as of right now, sorry, any NASA fans out there or whatever, it took us a while to realize that there's not really anything good about space right now.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Jury's still out on that one.
Right.
I don't know.
It just sounds like it just sounds like space sucks right now.
Yeah.
For right now.
So, no moon colonies. Not in 2015, not in 2023.
And probably not in 2047.
Exactly. So, aside from that, there was something else, and that was Dr. Weir. I could not stand Dr. Weir at all throughout this movie.
Oh, yeah.
For the reasons that you specified, he just immediately gave in to the entity, didn't question what he was seeing. He wanted to believe it. He wanted.
Yeah.
I feel like also
he's a doctor.
And he's a doctor, so you would think, he would think with his logical brain, but no, he wasn't. He was just like all emotion there, just feeding into whatever it gave him. And I guess there's a little bit of a bias there because he did create that core, the thing that was creating the wormhole. But at the same time, I'm just like, you got to have a little more fortitude.
Yeah.
Everybody is depending on this mission being a success, and you are not helping. And so it's just
sitting there.
Yeah, just sitting there, or just creating obstacles throughout the entire thing, throughout the entire movie, setting up traps, causing explosions.
He made it hard for the crew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He really did. And he, the man that we talked about who was splayed open, like, he did that.
Yeah, that was him who did that.
Yeah, so, I couldn't stand him. It was just like one thing after the other. Every time the scene cut to Dr. Weir, it's just like a groan, because I know he's going to try to do something else to make this mission a failure. And I could not stand him. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I love Dr. Grant from Jurassic Park, but no, Dr. Weir.
Walking around with his back all straight, talking like Pinhead.
Exactly. No. No more Dr. Weir. And then the other thing that really bothered me was I felt like Captain Miller didn't have to die. I was sad about that. I really wish that he had been able to survive. But again, goes to show you how much he cared about his crew, that he really sacrificed his life so that they could live. And, I thought that was awesome of the captain. But at the same time, I just, that pissed me off even more, because I liked him as the captain. I liked him alive. And what was done was already done to the other crewmates, because not all of the crewmates made it. But I would have liked to see him escape with the remaining 2 crewmates.
Yeah, they really make you care about Captain Miller.
Yeah.
So that was cool. And you know what? They make you care about everybody in that crew. So you actually care that they all don't make it.
Okay.
So I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Well, now it's that time. We gotta give this a rating.
Well, what would you give this?
So, as we mentioned earlier, that this rating is based on the context of this is 1997. So this is going back. You don't have all the other movies that you have to compare Event Horizon to. They don't have the technology that you would expect them to have. So understand, if Event Horizon came out today with these same graphics, this would be a very different rating.
Oh yeah.
That's why for me, I would say that if this was 1997, I would see this on the release day.
Oh wow.
So I give this one a release day rating.
Really?
Why? Why do I give it that rating? Because of the story, the characters. You care about the characters. Everyone delivers in here. There's no cheesy, unbelievable dialogue. It's one of the best. I'm gonna go as far as say it's one of the best blends that I have seen, even by today's standards of sci-fi, horror, and action. Not a bunch of stupid people making stupid decisions just to die. None of the characters are just packaged meat for you to just like get these kills off really quickly in the movie where you don't care about them. This is a solid film. So if this was back in 1997, I would have went to go see it. If it came out today, I would have said bargain bin. I would have given this a bargain bin. If it came. But I'm gonna say release day.
Okay, awesome.
What about you?
Well, you gave it our highest mark, our highest honors, and that's interesting. I did not know you would go there, But I'm gonna have to say worth the money.
Worth the money.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So
Okay.
I think it's worth. This was 1997.
That's our second highest
That's
rating.
our second highest rating. I would think it's would be a great movie to go see at the movie theaters. Even if you wanted to just go see it for a matinee or evening prices. But as far as release day, I don't know. I feel like there are movies that I would rank that are better than Event Horizon.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
although it's a good romp, I enjoyed it. There were aspects of it that I did not care for. I can't place it on the highest tier for that
Okay.
reason. So I am going to have to say
we don't always agree.
It's still worth the money.
We don't always agree, but
no. So that's my rating.
Okay, well, you know what? Let us know what you all think in the comments.
Yes.
Do you think it was worth the money, or do you think it was release day?
I want to see how many of you think it was release
I want to
day.
see.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know. And again, as always, don't forget to check us out on the podcast side. That would be
THEREMIN Chronicles.
Yes, THEREMIN Chronicles, where we constantly post podcast episodes for your enjoyment. Listen in. We have TV show recaps. We have versus battles. We have all kinds of content. And so we hope that you'll check us out. We're available on all major podcast and minor podcast platforms. Again, that's the THEREMIN Chronicles. And that's pretty much all we have for you for today's episode.
Yes, and once again, I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Veronica.
You have been watching Never Sleep Again.
Stay
awake.
awake.